Hello friends, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today's video we are going to talk about in continuation of the MongoDB and Node.js series. We'll talk how we could use insert documents within a collection within MongoDB. Yesterday we saw how we could connect it, and we also saw the Compass tool, that's a graphical user interface, but now programmatically how we could create certain documents within the collection. That's what the video is all about. When you do a CRUD operation, insert is one of the most important things because you need to insert your records or documents in NoSQL. And primarily there are two methods we could use. One is insert one, which fundamentally inserts one document at a time. And there is a second method called as insert many, which means you could insert more than one document at a given point of time. In case of insert many, as the name suggests, will definitely provide some kind of an array of objects that would actually be used to actually push those documents within that collection. So that's what the video is all about. So let's go and check it out how we could actually do this programmatically. So friends, as we see, we have a database named as RKB, and we have a collection named as DPT, and there are two documents within that collection, but these were the documents that we created through the user interface, that is the Compass one. But now we are going to use the MongoDB's stuff, but with the help of programs that will write it in Node.js. In the last video I actually showed you how to connect with the MongoDB, but now we'll use some another function. So I'm just gonna close this one because I'm not gonna use this function. So this is my first function. That looks fine. So my second function would be to actually insert a record into the collections, right? So that's what we are going to use, and because it uses a similar kind of a functionality, so I'll just copy that and paste it out here. We'll name it as, let's say, call it as insert one document, something like that, and it receives an object. So we'll pass on an object to that, and in case if you don't want to pass an object, you could create that object within that, and then it actually displays that. So that's fine. Now what we are gonna do here is, because it uses a URL, so we'll pass on a URL over here because it is gonna connect to that URL, and then finally it gives you that access. Okay, now there are a couple of things before you could actually do that. So once it is connected, let's say the database is connected, so before the DB close, so the first thing what you need to use is, let's say, the database. I'll use db.db, and RKB is the name of the database which we are gonna use. So DB is the reference which we get, and I want to use a DB called as RKB, so I'll get the reference for that. If you see it in the Compass, that's where the RKB is the database name and the collection name is the DPT. So that's how it is. Okay, now going back, so that's one thing we have used. And the second thing is, we want to exactly use, let's say, create a new object. So I'll just simply say, let's say, new department is equal to, and we'll use, let's say, an ID, or let's say department number, which is, let's say, 102, and department name, let's say 102, and then department name, which is, let's say, test department. So that's what we want to give. So this is my new department which I want to insert, and now what I'm gonna do here is, I'm just gonna use database, the object which we got, and then I'll say collection. Okay, so there is a collection named as department, so that's the one, and I'm gonna use, and then I'm gonna use the function called as insert one document, or insert one, not a document, and then I pass on the object which you have. So let's say my new DPT, and then finally I'll get the function which is error, and then result, let's say. So that's what I get, and so if there is an error, which is fine. I can just throw that out. So let's say if error, then throw, let's say error, which is okay. And then I'm just gonna use console.log record inserted into the database. And then if you want to display, let's say we'll just display result object that we are gonna use within the result. So that's what we are going to get it from the callback object. So that's what it is. So we get that, and then finally I want to close it also once my connection is done and everything looks fine. Now so fundamentally we connect to the MongoDB in the same way. We are trying to do that, and then we are actually using a database named as RKB. We create a new object where you want to actually insert that collection, insert that document into the collection, and then we use the database reference to refer to a collection named as department and use one insert one method, which is new department, which we are trying to create, and then follow the callback, and then accordingly we are doing certain things. Now if this looks fine, so let's say I'm just gonna call insert one document, and I have the URL over here. I'll just use that URL, which is fine, and let's see if it works for us or not. So I'll go back, and here it is. I'll say node.js with mongo.js. So once I run it, so it exactly creates that, and then it actually gives me a complete object of that result. It's a big object which gets back to me, which is a command result n is this, it's one record, and then okay means the result got perfectly fine. And if you go down, so this is the new record which is being created, and this is an internal ID, like an object ID which MongoDB creates, underscore ID. So you could see that has been created, and inserted count is 1, and inserted ID is, this is an ID which is a unique ID whenever a new record is inserted. So it means perfectly the record has been inserted into there. Now just in order to verify whether the record is inserted, let's go back to the compass, and then you could just let's say go back and check that out in case, let's say, just need to refresh this. Okay, I can refresh this out, and I'll just go on to the DPT, and I cannot find out, let's say, if I can see my record or not. Okay, open a new tab. So yes, so there are 3 records. So one is 100, marketing, technology, and that's the object ID which we exactly used. And in fact, it is actually giving us the object ID as well as that 102 test department. So that's how the record is actually working. Okay, now what we can do is we can actually use the other method also, which is let's say the multiple one, which is insert many. So technically what I'm gonna do here is, so I'll just use this one. So let's create another method. I'll just use it as okay, let me copy this whole method, and this is my one. Okay, I'll paste it out here. So let's call this third, insert multiple records into the collection. So fundamentally all the things remain same. I'm gonna do that. So let's say over here it's 3, department name is, let's say, test 1, and I just want to say there's another one which is, and I'll just new departments, and because it has to be in the form of an array, so let's use that way, and then I'll just use it, copy it, and then once you have that, so you just need to pass the right. So I'll just use 103 and 104. So this is test department 2. I cannot use a semicolon, it's a comma over here. So these are the new departments. Insert multiple collections, or let's say multiple documents, which looks fine. And over here, rather than using insert one, so I'll use insert many, and then you just pass on the same thing, just like new DPTs, right? So that's what we are passing in records, let's say inserted into the database. And then finally you could also get the result, so I can just use that, and I'll say insert inserted count. So that's one of the keys I can use, and finally that gets inserted out. Okay, so now I'll just use this function, copy that, paste it out here, insert multiple documents, you pass on the URL, that looks fine. The rest of the, I don't need this one, I can comment it out, that's gone, is already gone. Okay, so which makes sense, and let's use this and see whether it really works and insert 2 records or not. So we'll go back to the terminal window, clear this out, run this. So it says connected to the MongoDB instance, records insert into the database, result is 2, means there were 2 records that were inserted. Let's go into the compass, and then let's just open this out in the new tab, and you would see 103, 104. So these are the 2 new records which have been inserted, like the multiple one. So I hope, guys, this is how the first operation within the CRUD, that is the insertion or creation of the documents within the collection in MongoDB, could be done. And you could either insert 1 record or multiple records. And I'll be coming back with more videos and continuing with the same series to actually demonstrate how we could use delete, update, and other operations on the same. So I hope, guys, you would like this video and it is going to help you out, and stay tuned, and I'll be coming back with more videos. Have a good one.